To call this regular meeting of the Coralville City Council to order, please. February 25th, 2020. Roll call.
Councilmember Gross? Here. Sorry, I missed you. Foster?
Here.
Gill?
Present.
Dodds?
Present.
Goodrich?
Here.
I was just doing my counting slow because that's what we're used to, right?
It's a good thing this isn't the live news, Kevin.
I know.
that never happens.
Racing me? Just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Okay, all council members are present, as is the mayor, the city clerk, city administrator, city attorney, and several city staff in the back of the room there. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Gill,
Second.
seconded by Goodrich. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the agenda is approved. Okay, we have a very special occasion this evening. It's an opportunity to honor and recognize a member of our greater Iowa City, Cedar Rapids community that is truly a legend. He's been a part of our community for 34 years. And it's, you know, my day would not be complete. I don't know what I'll do without my Bruce fix after March 6th. So I'd like to start by reading this proclamation first. City of Coralville Proclamation. Whereas Bruce Aune has spent the past 34 years earning the trust and loyalty of Eastern Iowa television viewers as the evening news anchor at KCRG TV in Cedar Rapids. And whereas Bruce Aune has delivered breaking news, good news, and heart-wrenching news with the compassion and professionalism of the highest journalistic standards. And whereas Bruce Aune's unwavering commitment to his craft has helped shape countless journalists who have worked with Bruce in the newsroom. And whereas Bruce Aune has traveled the world and seen the mightiest and the weakest of humanity while demonstrating the ability to tell the story with accuracy, fairness, and empathy. And whereas the Iowa Broadcast News Association honored Bruce Aune with its prestigious Jack Shelley Award. And whereas Bruce Aune anchored in Coralville when we hosted Ragbri, covered the 2008 floods, featured Coralville's in Our Town, helped promote Fry Fest, and emceed various events and fundraisers for the many local organizations. And whereas Bruce Aune has been a true treasure to Eastern Iowans who have graciously welcomed him into their living rooms to deliver the news. Now therefore be it resolved that I, John A. Lundell, Mayor of the City of Coralville, do hereby declare March 6, 2020, Bruce Aune Day. I urge all citizens to take part in the recognizing and honoring the many contributions that Bruce Aune has made to our community and wish him the very best on his retirement. Signed this 25th day of February 2020, John A. Lundell, Mayor. Bruce, I'd like to present that to you, and I would also like to present you an honorary key to the city. It's truly a pleasure to, here we'll stand in the front of the room here. It's an honor to have you come down and join us tonight. One of the things I did before I left home was I checked the 6 o'clock news and you weren't on it. Right. So I thought that's a good news. I might be here tonight. So congratulations on the proclamation. March 6th will be Bruce Aune Day in Coralville. Thank you. And also, this is a distinction I give our honorary guests such as yourself, honorary key to the city. And in Bruce Aune, in recognition of the many contributions Bruce Aune has made to the Eastern Iowa from the city of Coralville. So wow. I'd like to congratulate you again. And if you'd like to say a few words, you're welcome to do that. I'll put the other hardware on your seat over here.
Thank you. Well, I just want to thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council, for this wonderful honor. It's very humbling to hear such, wow, I don't even know how to describe the things people are saying about me, and the impact that I have had on people through the years is very humbling and flattering, too. 34 years have flown by, but I have to say, with the stock market the last 2 days, I might reconsider the retirement. But it's been wonderful. I have just been impressed so much by the growth of your community and how important you have become such a key cog to Eastern Iowa and the development of this part of the state, in fact, the whole state. So congratulations to you, and just thank you very, very much. And I'm not going to be a stranger because my wife and I are planning to stay here in Eastern Iowa. In fact, we just bought a home last week. We're moving out of our condo. Oh. She said, aren't we supposed to downsize now? we're moving up. But thank you again very,
Yeah.
very much. It's really an honor.
Yeah, thank you, Bruce. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Okay. Well, can't top that, but we'll try. Next item, citizen comments. This is the opportunity for folks in the audience to speak on and address the council on any item that's not already on the agenda. Would anyone like to join us? Yes.
You saw me earlier, Mayor.
Yeah.
You knew this was coming. It is truly a pleasure to come here every month and report on the Coralville Community Food Pantry. I'm Jim Hayes, one of the members of the Board of Directors, and I have the pleasure of introducing one of our new members that we elected to the board in January. I'll be introducing her at the end because she is going to play a larger role in this meeting because we have some other good, there's always good news to share. So, but, excuse me. I always start off with program updates and our service to the community. We finished December of 2019 with 868 family visits to the food pantry. January, we did increase that to 879 visits. The total families served at the end of December was 391. That has gone up to 404 families. That's an increase of 13 families. And total individuals served is 1,374. That is 6.6% of the population of Coralville. Total food distributed in January was 37,370 pounds. So the need is there. Our partnership with the city of Coralville is greatly appreciated. And our community meal program that we have begun, the Global Community Dinner is scheduled for Friday, March 27th at the Coralville Public Library. It does start at 5:30 p.m. We've had a tremendous response from the local churches in the community as far as bringing forth volunteers to help us serve the community. I also am happy to report our weekly meal program. We have a 2020 presenting sponsor, which is Green State Credit Union. And our target date for our first meal is Monday, April 6th. So you'll be hearing more about that in our March report. I'm kind of becoming the face of the food pantry, aren't I? And the school break nutrition program, that is proceeding as scheduled. A new program that John Bowler, our director, spearheaded and got funded for us in a major way is our Veggie RX program. And I'm not even going to attempt to describe it, explain it when I have the actual expert here with me, and that is our new board member, which I'm happy to report is Joyce Waba. She is from the University of Iowa. I'll let her give her own bio to you and her own introduction from this point forward. One thing I did remiss last January when I was here, when I introduced Jennifer Wynn, I did fail to let you folks know that we elected her as our new treasurer for the year. So that was one minor misstep on my part. But Joyce, I'd like you to come up and give us a little bit of a bio to the city and also our new Veggie RX program.
Sounds good. All right. Hello, everyone. My name's Joyce Waba. I'm a third-year medical student at the University of Iowa. I'm originally from California, so this is just a little bit colder for me. But so far, so good. So I am one of the executive coordinators of Mobile Clinic. We are a student-run free clinic, and we serve multiple sites throughout Iowa City, Coralville, West Liberty, and Columbus Junction. And I'm happy to announce that we've also formed a partnership with the Coralville Food Pantry as well as the North Liberty Food Pantry. And we're able to go in on a every other week basis and perform these free health screenings for anyone who would like one. And what these health screenings are is just simple blood pressure test. We get a height and weight, and then we can also check for diabetes and cholesterol with a simple pinprick. And then we can offer tailored health education based on those numbers. And the goal of this project is to see if we can kind of do some diet modifiable diseases. So if we are able to change diabetes by just being like, okay, here is a section of the food pantry that maybe you would like to shop from instead of here, and kind of just giving some tips and tricks and trying to track these numbers over time to see if we can have an impact on some of these people. And a larger part of that project is the VeggieRx project, where we received funding to give 40 families for 26 weeks just free vegetables on a weekly basis. And so we'll be selecting these families based off of our health screenings. So we're very excited to be partnered with the food pantry, and I'm very excited also just to be involved with the food pantry in general. And thank you all so much for your support. We really appreciate it. I've been learning more and more on how the city supports us, and it's honestly amazing how much you all do. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Joyce. And thank you, Jim. Appreciate the report. Yep, all good news.
It's gonna be one of those nights.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak to us tonight? No, go ahead. He's just getting ready for another item.
Hi, my name is Ken Arkema. I live on Timber Lane, and I have a general question about property taxes. Is now the appropriate time, or will the public be allowed to discuss later on the agenda when you talk about the levy rate?
Your choice. The next item is a public hearing on the fiscal year budget. So you'll hear a bit of a presentation from Tony, our finance director, that might help inform your question. But I tell you what, why don't we wait, and then I'll let you come up and re-ask it if it hasn't been answered. Is
Very
that
good.
fair?
Yes.
Okay, happy to do that. Anyone else want to speak to us tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on then to item 6, which is the fiscal year 2021 budget. First item is a public hearing on the maximum levy for fiscal year 2021. I'll open the public hearing, then I'll turn it over to Tony Rotland, our finance director, to give his presentation. So the public hearing is open. Tony?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will just remind everyone that this is a new hearing that is part of it's an addition to the budget process that was put in the law in the spring of 2019, so just a little under a year ago. It is property tax oriented as opposed to the rest of the pieces of the budget, and it is only on the revenue side. And there was a special notice that was sent out and put in the paper this year associated with this. So now I could go through my general presentation at this time if that'd be helpful. Okay. So this is the budget for fiscal year 21, beginning 7/1/20 and ending June 30th of 2021. And the proposed property tax rate for this budget is 14.3123 per $1,000 of taxable value. So the city's levy rate was unchanged for 10 consecutive years at 13.5277. This year we're proposing to raise it. The portion we're raising is in the operating side of the general fund. We're proposing that the debt tax rate stay unchanged at 2.1202. So the city's chief goals in formulating the budget each year are to have it be balanced, meaning revenues and expenditures are equal, to maintain the property tax rate when possible, to maintain sufficient fund balances, and to provide high-quality public services. The challenges are, of course, generally rising costs. Planning for future needs is a big part of what all the department heads do here. And for FY21 specifically, there was a decrease in the taxable value to which the property tax rate applicable to the general fund is applied. So even without factoring in an increase in costs, we have a decrease in property tax revenues. So in Iowa, property is categorized into several types: residential through agricultural, Multi-residential was a new property class back in FY17, so it's been a little bit, but that is relatively new. There are growth limitations imposed on some of the classes to eliminate dramatic tax shifts in terms of the tax burden between classes of property. And that gets implemented through something called the rollback. So the rollback is the proportion of assessed value that is taxable. And so here's a comparison of FY20, the current fiscal year, and FY21's rollback figures. So you can see that residential, the taxable value, all things equal, decreased about 1.84%. Multi-residential went down just under 4%. So the proposed property tax rate means, coupled with the rollback changes at the state level, means that a residential property assessed at $100,000 has a taxable value that's $1,844 less than the year before. And when you factor in the tax rate proposal, the property tax to be paid to the city for the city portion of the tax bill increases by $35.82 for that $100,000 assessed value home. Commercial property assessed at $500,000 would be taxable at $450,000, and then the tax rate as applied to that would mean an additional property tax bill for the city of $353.07. So in 2013, which is becoming quite a while ago, there was some commercial and industrial property tax reform passed. The reason I keep not taking it out of this presentation is there are backfill or make-whole payments that were put in place at that time, and those pay for what the property taxes would have paid for had cities and counties kept receiving them at the level they used to be received at. So I keep it there just to keep reminding us all that those backfill payments coming from the state to pay for that legislation are important. So the city tax levy, property tax levy, has several components, and they're listed here. On the next page, there's a comparison of the 2 years, FY21 that we're currently budgeting for, and FY20. So you'll see that most of the levies are relatively similar. The one, we have a little bit in terms of tort liability increase, so think insurance and legal costs. Transit up just a hair, and then trust and agency is where most of the increase is. So then if we take the property tax for Coralville and add it in to the rest of the taxing entities to show what a total property tax bill might look like for an average citizen, we put the school in the county, etc. This is what it would look like using Coralville's proposed FY21 rate and those other bodies' current FY20 rate, because I don't know yet where their rates are headed with certainty. And then this chart breaks that into proportions. So you can see the school, the city of Coralville, and Johnson County are the predominant slices. There are a few smaller pieces as well. But that gives you some feel for the proportionality. So the hearing that the mayor just opened is called by some the max levy hearing. It's mandated by Senate File 634, passed this past year. If you look at the notice, if you looked at or choose to look at in the future this notice, there's something I want to point out about it. It talks about the maximum property tax levy. One would naturally think, hearing that title, that it would be the maximum amount of property taxes that can be levied. However, as with all things that seem to go through the legislature, there's a twist. It excludes certain property tax levies. In our case, the one that's excluded is the debt service levy. So With that in mind, what it does say is the current year tax rates in dollars and the proposed the FY21 tax rate if the same dollars were requested. What it does not say is what the actual total current or proposed levy rate is that you would see on your tax bill. So let me show you the notice that was published with a couple little balloons at the bottom with notes. So first column, property tax in the current year, dollars and rate at the bottom. Second column, if the same dollars for the year to be budgeted, what would the property tax rate be? That's at the bottom, that tax rate. And what is the city actually requesting? And I made a note in the far left and right column of what the total property tax rate is in comparison to the numbers that appear on that notice. So you have to be a little bit of a careful consumer of that notice. But the notice is mandated by the state Department of Management, and so that's the form we use. So the general fund is the city's chief operating fund. It has various sources of revenue: property taxes, hotel motel taxes, permits and license revenues, interest, rental income, things like that. Intergovernmental things like grants and 2080 contracts, rec program charges, and borrowings or interfund transfers. The estimated revenue for FY21 is $29.33 million in round numbers. That's a 4% increase from FY20, the current year. And the functions that supports are public safety, health, social services, culture, recreation, economic development, community development, general government like administrative costs, and contingencies. So here we have a listing of the revenues to give you a feel for the proportions. Property and excise taxes are just under half of the general fund's revenues. There are several departments that have expenses budgeted out of the general fund, and this gives you a feel for the proportions there as well. So park and rec, public safety, police, fire, animal control, things like that as well. The city receives state road use tax funds for use on the city streets, and it's allocated based on population. It's projected by the state DOT to be $127 per person for FY21, so that's about $2.4 million. That pays for things like snow removal, treatment, ice melting, traffic signaling, repair of streets, patching, and regrading. The city has several enterprise funds: public transit, water, wastewater, and the others listed here. And we're proposing no change in rate structure for those. And the FY21 budget includes several things, like a replacement of a paratransit bus in public transit, an additional patrol officer in police, some equipment and tools in fire. Streets, we have some replacement of a plow truck, and we also have some additional equipment for street repair. And then we have work on several city streets that's scheduled and budgeted for. In solid waste, the replacement of one truck, and in the library, study room enhancements and furniture replacements in the adult and young adult areas. This isn't a full listing, but it's some of the notable things I pulled out of the budget. In the various enterprise funds, there's basically a budget number for FY21 that can give you a feel for the size of each of those enterprises. So timing and additional information. The Connection magazine was delivered to mailboxes already. It was last week. And so that's in the past, but it's a source of information. March 10th, we'll have another public hearing, the one that we've had in the past on our normal process. March 24th, we would plan to adopt the budget, and then it would be implemented, filed and implemented per the state's required schedule. And it's there's information available online at City Hall, here at the Coralville Public Library, again in the Connection magazine, and there will be some things on Coral Vision as well.
That it?
That is.
Okay. Thank you, Tony. Is there anything that the staff would like to add before I open? Okay. Ken or anyone else who would like to speak, please go ahead.
My wife and I have lived in a single-family residence on Timber Lane for 19 years, and the city of Coralville is a great place to live, and our property has appreciated to some degree during that time. But each year that we've lived there, our property taxes have increased. And my question is that the standard for almost every residential property owner in this city?
I would say yes for residential property ownership, unless the assessed value was decreased for some reason. Am I correct in saying that?
Right. Yeah, you'd have it, some of the things, you have the assessed value, which the assessor does. You also have the other levy rates that mostly the county and the school district would have too. So those and our rates. So there's 3 different rates that would affect that. So
Right, the city hasn't raised rates in 10 years. So if your rates have gone up, I mean, that's rollback, that's state, those are other outside forces that we don't control at this table on that.
Right. Yeah, I understand that. It just seems odd that every year the property taxes go up. And now the land has been reassessed and it is raised, so the property taxes will go up again next year. Just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wait, I'm just, Ken, just one more question for you.
Yes.
So when you say the property taxes are going up, are you looking just at the Coralville portion of the pie? Because there's been some significant increase in bond levies and things have been passed by the school district. So those have gone up significantly.
I've looked at the big picture. I
Okay.
know this is just a segment of it.
Okay. Okay.
It's a great city.
Oh, thank you.
I'm startled that every year it goes up.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that I appreciate your comments, and I can tell you that the department heads and the staff of the city have worked so hard to keep things as limited as possible. There's no extravagant spending or excessive spending at all, and we've been working very hard. So, but thanks for your input. Is anyone else like to speak to us tonight?
Going off of that, my name is Dara. I'm a multi-property owner in the city of Coralville, and I just want to say that I question the exact amount that you guys chose to increase about. Why not a little bit? Not why such a jump? You know, why not? So, yeah. Why did you guys choose this number particularly?
So there's a couple, I'll offer some thoughts.
Okay.
There's a couple pieces to it. One piece was we looked at, staff and elected officials looked at the reduction in property tax revenues due to the 2 pieces of the rollback and due to some other property tax adjustments in the city. In addition, there are other revenue streams that come into the general fund, like hotel motel tax, that normally would go up a little bit and aren't projected to currently. And then, you have your sort of everything goes up a little bit kinds of costs. And so when taking all of those together and walking through it, there was a question of how much of that to deal with on the revenue side and how much to deal with on the expenditure side. And so the city staff and council and mayor worked through some of those questions, and there's no I don't think, particular magic to the number in terms of the tax rate. You'll notice it's not a very round number. It goes out 4 digits. But it was, my opinion is that it's the best decision that staff and council and mayor could make in terms of splitting those different pieces and making it balance.
Well, as a landlord, I just have to say that now I will have to increase the tenants' rent a little bit now. And so that's gonna, just saying, they're not gonna be very happy, and I try my best to have a very competitive rate, and not, I know everybody's just trying to live, so I would like to urge you guys to reconsider maybe going down maybe 2 notches or something, and that's just my 2 cents. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I appreciate you coming and sharing that, because that's, in a tough spot. I think, I've been on the council since 2007, and this is just the second time that, I'll vote for a tax increase. So we've tried very hard not to do that. And I think that sometimes when you've had 10 years where that hasn't happened and it happens, it seems very startling, because to have a kind of flat line and then to bump it's there. I think the thing here is, when you're the city council, you're kind of the last past it, stop down. The Des Moines passes bills and laws and policies that we get kind of stuck with, and the rollback, we don't get a say into that. The property tax revenue, which had a huge impact, a huge break for multifamily owners, and so you should be getting a benefit from that standpoint. And unfortunately, we have a lot of that in Coralville, so we get put in a very tough spot of, when the revenue is not where it is, do you cut the programs that make what I would argue Coralville such a great place to live? And we did make some cuts. I mean, on some things. So at some point, it really is this balancing act of keeping the city and the amenities that people come to expect that have been here 20 and 30 years, and kind of balancing it out with all the other factors. So it's a very tough decision. We take it very seriously.
No, I by no means am trying to undermine your incredible hard work.
Oh, no,
Thank you
yeah.
guys for all your service, and you guys are all taking time out. So.
No, I appreciate your feedback very much, both of you. Yep.
And we really do appreciate hearing from everyone, and I just would echo what Mitch said and what Tony said as well, is that we work really hard to it is very, very difficult. It's a very difficult decision to make. We don't take it lightly, and we did take some time to look for some efficiencies that could be had within the budget. The challenge, as again, just to kind of echo what Mitch is saying, is if where do we find that balance in a community that is growing the way we have, or the way that we are growing? If we cut too much, then we start sacrificing quality of services. We start sacrificing things like public safety, street repair, and a lot of those amenities that contribute to the growth. So we do recognize that it is challenging, and we do appreciate that you came and shared your thoughts with us tonight.
One thing, Mayor, that I just would remind you, and if Tony, if you could put back up those rollback changes, it's specifically in multifamily, there is a decrease in the value that's of the taxes on multifamily, because it goes from paying on 75%, that's that second line down, to 71.2%. So that's one of the overall impacts on the city's revenue, because there's a significant number of multifamily residential units. So that value change actually goes down and would be an offset to what the increase in the levy would be.
That's not back.
Right.
I'd just like to say that we provide quality services, and quality services in this state, and none. We have an excellent library, we have excellent police, we have excellent fire, and I'm so happy that we can live in a community like this, and I think everybody here demands those services, and those services cost money, and we have not raised the levy for how many years, is it, Mitch? 10 years. And I'm sorry, but we have to raise that levy. And we're not going to go backwards. So I would, I never really want to raise taxes either, but when we do raise taxes, it's well spent. The other thing I'd like to comment, everybody in the community gets one of these. This is a very good explanation of where your tax dollars are spent. So if you want to take a look at that, and the staff are more than willing to come and help and explain things to you if you have any questions. So, thank you.
Anyone else?
I was just going to say that with the rollback changes with the multi-residential, I'm hoping that it might be closer to a wash than what you might think it's going to be. So that's, don't panic yet. It might work out okay.
Okay. I'm going to close the public hearing then, and consider the resolution. Don?
Resolution approving the total maximum property tax dollars for fiscal year 2021. Introduced for adoption by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second?
Seconded by Gill. Discussion? Roll call.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. Item C is the presentation that Tony just gave, so we can pass over that. And then item D is the resolution setting the date for the traditional public hearing on the budget. That is more than what Tony just alluded to on the maximum levy that we just held. So, Don, I consider the resolution.
Resolution setting a date for the public hearing on the fiscal year 2021 budget. Introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gross, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Discussion? I'll just mention that is at our next meeting, which is March 10th, that a little after 6:30 we'll be having that public hearing. Roll call.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye. Okay, resolution passes all ayes. Thank you very much. Item 7 is Lot 1, Cedar's 3rd edition. This is for a project on Heartland Drive to the west of Taco Bell for a professional office building. This is a project that we had approved previously, and then it's been amended some, and so they're going through the process a second time. And City Attorney Kevin Olson will, I guess, be doing this presentation.
Yes, as the mayor said, we already approved this at one time, but there were some changes to the site plan and the building official has the right to make minor changes, but the changes were big enough that we among staff decided we needed to bring it back to the council. So I will bring this down here. If you remember, this is the lot that is right to the west of the Taco Bell on Heartland Drive. I'll get down to the site plan for you here. And here it is, the proposed building. It's an office building it will be a multi-tenant office building. Before the developer, Dr. Y, got construction costs back and they were over his budget. So what he had done is, in the previous model, he had underground parking and now at this time he does not have any underground parking left on this lot. He still has the number of required parking spots are 48 for this use in this building, and he does provide 53 lots surface parking on this lot. As you can see on the south side of this lot, there is a connection to the Mercy Rehab Hospital to the west, and then there will also be on the north side of this lot a connection from the that goes past the Taco Bell and will also go into the Mercy Rehab Hospital lot, and then to the north of that is the Mercy Clinics building. I'm going to bring up the elevations. There were some changes in the materials here, so I'll just re-show you the buildings here. Get down to the bottom where the elevations are here. Hopefully, here they come. As you remember, this is in the West Land Use area, which under the West Land Use Plan has specific guidelines for the design of the architectural design of the building. There have been some changes to the outside of the building, still using the same, still pretty much has the same look to it, and all the materials have been, the mix of materials here does meet the West Land Use Area Plan for the design of the building. So this is on planning and zoning last month, and it was recommended for approval by unanimous vote.
Kevin, do you know what the changes were from what it was presented to us as?
Go ahead.
Yes, I'm Jake Bauer. I work for Rohrbach Associates. We're the architect for this building. The changes were, like he had said, it was came in a little over its budget. All we did was just shrunk it down. So
Okay.
it's the same exact materials.
Okay.
You can see it's stone, it's faux wood panels, it's composite metal panels. It's going to be a robust building.
Okay.
It's going to have a precast and concrete base to it and steel framing to it. So it's going to be considerably robust for a building of its size. He wants to do something that'll last and have his name on it for some time now.
Okay.
So the changes from what you previously saw, basically all we did was just shrunk it down. And so we were able to, shrinking it down, we were able to get a lot more stormwater management and kind of more the site stuff that the city was looking for, implement that a lot more to their liking.
Thank you.
So that's where you gain the extra parking spaces?
Yes, correct.
You gained the extra parking spaces because you shrunk it down?
Right, yep.
Okay.
And originally, we did have parking underneath, but that was just
Right.
going to be for the employees of the building. But we've done away with that, so they'll, he owns an adjacent property where employees for that can park. And as he stated, this his intent for this building is to be a professional medical office building, so he's going to put one of his clinics in there, and he plans to lease out the other tenant spaces to other medical professionals.
Very good, thank you. Okay, item C is a public hearing on this amended PUD site plan. So I'll open the public hearing. Are there any comments? Any written?
No, Richard.
Okay. Seeing and hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and consider the resolution.
Resolution approving the amended PUD-B site plan for Lot 1, Cedar, 3rd Edition, Coralville, Iowa. Introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Gross. Discussion? Roll call.
Aye.
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 Gil.
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. Item 8 is the IRL Parkview. This is a project that investments that they purchased a small portion of the property owned by Von Mauer, basically the east end of the sliver of the east end of the parking lot of Von Mauer for their needs. Don, the resolution?
Resolution directing the mayor to execute various releases and assignments related to the IRL Parkview project. Introduced for adoption by Councilmember, who is that?
Pick one.
I'll do it. Is it Jill?
Seconded
Jill.
by?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Foster. Discussion?
Yeah, these are basically, these requirements that are being released are actually, were only applicable to the Von Mauer lot when we did the deal. So it's just a release. We have closed on this lot. This is just the last piece of that, and they have started their project already. So, but this is just the last piece to get the title clear. It's just stuff that wouldn't apply to this lot that applies to Von Mauer's lot. So,
Okay. Anything else? Roll call.
Goodrich,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Gross, Gill,
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. Item 9 is the Coral Ridge Avenue Improvements Phase 2. The first item is a resolution adopting and levying the final schedule of assessments and providing for the collection of those. And as I recall, those are right in line with what the preliminary ones were. So, Don?
Resolution adopting and levying final schedule of assessments and providing for the payment thereof. Introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Dodds. Discussion.
Yeah, these were right in line with that, and we've already had about $170,000 to $180,000 paid from the Red Hawk development and some of the development on the east side of Coral Ridge Avenue.
Thank you. Roll call.
Foster,
Aye.
Gross,
Aye.
Gill,
Aye.
Dodds,
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Item 10 is the Coralville Woodland Restoration Projects. I'd entertain a motion to accept the removal of invasive species from the open forested areas in the Staples Basin and Clear Creek that were paid through REAP grant funding.
So moved.
Moved by Gill,
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Any discussion? You want to say anything?
I would just, this has been a wonderful project for us. The majority of it was paid with REAP grants, and then the rest we budgeted over 2 years. And this was finished up this fall with its final treatment. And we were able to remove understory invasives from 123 acres in 5 different areas of the city. And so it's really opened it up. It's helped us to get a handle on Oriental bittersweet and some of those others that are invading our woodlands, and we've learned a lot from it, and we've been able to use to work with some scout troops to be able to do some other small areas, and we'll continue to do that.
Thank you. And if there's anyone that doesn't already know Sherry, this is Sherry Proud, the director of our Parks and Recreation Department. Resolution, Don?
Resolution accepting the Coralville Woodland Restoration Project, Stables Basin and Clear Creek as completed, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gill. Roll call?
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Did we vote on the motion?
No, we did not.
I didn't think so. So the motion was made by Gill, seconded by Dodds, I believe, to approve the final payment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item 11 is the Access Center 28E agreement.
Mayor, we
gotta
have
do
C
D.
and D there.
Oh, C and D. Oh, sorry, I was moving too fast here. So C is a motion to, I'd entertain a motion for final payment for the similar project in Auburn Hills and Auburn Hills East. Moved by
So moved.
Second.
Gross, seconded by Gill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and the resolution for that.
Resolution accepting the Coralville Woodland Restoration Project, Auburn Hills and Auburn Hills East as completed, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Discussion? Roll call.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Now, item number 11, Access Center 28E agreement. This is for a long time discussed Access Center project with the Johnson County and located in the city of Iowa City. This documents the contributions to be made to Johnson County's construction of the Behavioral Health Urgent Care Center to address the maintenance and operation of the center by Johnson County and establish an advisory committee. Don?
Resolution approving a 28E agreement with Johnson County, the City of Iowa City, the City of Coralville, and the City of North Liberty regarding the Behavioral Health Urgent Care Center, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Foster. Discussion.
Yeah, I'd like to, as you said, this has been going on a long time. There were actually a change we got today. The county, as you recall, the biggest sticking point with us, because we're just making a contribution, was the payback if the center closed. The county had proposed 2 or 3 years. The cities had proposed 10. They came back with 5, and Iowa City is going to accept the 5, so we get paid back the 20% over the 5 years, depending on how
So
long.
ours is a 5.
It would be a 5-year payback if they close before 5 years, then they'd have to pay us some of our contribution back, the pro rata share of that. So that is the one change that we had on this that we had discussed earlier. Otherwise, the issues between Iowa City and the county, I think, have pretty much been taken care of. So
Good.
the agreement is ready to go. I got the clean copy with the draft on it today, so it's ready to approve.
And you're good
As
with-
long as you guys are okay with the 5 years.
That's what I was gonna say.
Well, I'd like-
I think the staff's okay with the 5 years. Iowa City is okay. I didn't have a discussion with North Liberty, but I think it's okay with us.
Yeah.
I noticed we make our payments in 4 increments.
They've already started construction, so by the time we get through the whole thing, it'll probably
be finished.
equal out to pretty much 2 payments in this fiscal year and 2 payments in the next fiscal year, like we have budgeted.
Thank you, Kevin, for
No
all your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Laura. You've been going to a lot of those meetings on our behalf. So.
My pleasure.
Roll call.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Item 12 is procurement cards. This is just a resolution allowing a position of stormwater coordinator to be issued a procurement card by the city.
Resolution designating the position of stormwater coordinator to the list of certain positions allowed to be issued a procurement card pursuant to the Coralville purchasing policy. Introduced for adoption by Councilmember Dodds, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gross. Discussion? Roll call.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Item 13, I'd consider a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented or amended.
Move to approve the consent calendar, items A through N inclusive.
Second.
Moved by Gill, seconded by Dodds. Any discussion? Roll call.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Consent calendar is approved as presented, all ayes. Item 14 is city administrator's report.
Nothing at this time.
Nothing tonight, okay. Mayor's report, I just wanted to send some condolences out to the family of Bill Supel. Many of us that have been in city government have known Bill. He's kind of a legend in this area. He passed away this weekend at the great age of 90 years old. For decades, actually, he was a legal counsel for the Iowa League of Cities. He's considered the father of the home rule in Iowa, back when that was a constitutional amendment. He was the major force behind getting that passed by the state. He's represented a number of cities in Iowa on labor negotiations and municipal issues. He helped get the IMWCA launched. And he's just a great fan of cities and everything that we do. So Bill and his family has always lived in Iowa City. And his, I could read you his obit, but we'd be here all night because all the accolades that he's earned. His funeral's on Monday at 10 o'clock at St. Mary's Church. So I just wanted to give condolences out to his family. His at least one son is followed in his father's footsteps.
Yep.
And, yeah. So he was an assistant city attorney for Iowa City for a while when I was there. I don't know where he's at today, but
He's in the office. He's practicing at the firm.
oh, good, great. I believe that's all I have. So I will move on and to the city attorney's report.
I have nothing.
I'd just like to add that I've worked with Bill over the years for city stuff, and besides Don, he won't meet a more gentlemanly person. He is very gracious and very helpful at all times when you had questions.
Very good. Committee and council members report. Lori, do you want to
I
start?
don't have anything, thanks.
Okay, Jill?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to remind everyone that the garden plots for the community gardens started for Coralville residents yesterday and will open up for people who are not residents of Coralville on March 2nd. So if any are available still. There's 2 different plot sizes as well as ADA accessible raised gardens. And then I would like to ask everybody to remember to plant a row for the hungry and donate a row of produce to our community food pantry. You can get the applications either online or at the rec center.
Great, thanks, Jill. Tom?
Well, my only comment is the resolution, the 2080 agreement we did tonight, and I just hope this comes to fruition and works really well. I hope it works for our public safety. I mean, it's a great thing that if we can get this thing done. But that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Mitch?
A couple things, Mayor. First, I want to give a huge shout out and congratulations to my former colleague who used to sit right here, Bill Hof's son, who won the state wrestling championship over the weekend. Will, so congratulations, Bill, on that, and to Will as well. And then from the library standpoint, it's kind of funny Allison's here, but the library board made a decision last year, I guess 2 years ago, to maybe stop doing our putt-putt fundraiser because we thought people were getting tired of it and it was losing steam. And then the 1 year we don't do it, people complained that we
Didn't do it.
didn't do it, so you can never win. So putt-putt is back, and it is Sunday, March 8th at the library. And if you haven't done it, it is pretty cool because the whole library's turned into a pretty quirky, fun, challenging indoor golf course. So check that out, Sunday, March 8th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's all I've got, Mayor.
Thank you. Megan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really don't have much either. I did just want to thank everybody that attended the DVIP Super Bowl last Friday. It was a tremendous success, and I wanted to give a special shout out because this was the first time we'd hosted the event at the Coralville Marriott, and the feedback that we received on that event was so positive. I was helping people kind of, move through the line, picking out their bowls, and just kind of general traffic flow. And I heard so many people talk about how wonderful the Marriott space was, that they were really grateful that the event had been moved to Coralville, and the DVIP staff also had nothing but praise for the staff at the Marriott. They were wonderful to work with. And so I'm really grateful that we were able to host that event here in Coralville, and thank you to everyone who attended. I also just wanted to give a mention to there's a soul food dinner hosted by the Black Voices Project. That is a wonderful event for the entire Johnson County community. That will be this Friday, February 28th at the Iowa City Rec Center. Everyone is welcome to attend. I believe it starts at 6 p.m. So highly encourage everyone to come to that event. I'm sorry, did I say it was at the Mercer Park Rec Center?
You said Iowa City.
Did I say it's because there are two rec centers. It's
right.
it's the Robert E. Lee Rec Center.
Oh, okay.
It's not at the Mercer one. It's at Robert E. Lee. I just wanted to make sure I got that right. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Megan. Entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Moved by Gill, second by Goodrich.
Yeah.
I'm losing my voice.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.